here again, another Thursday with amazing artists. You hear this? Can't wait. Hey. All right, guys, it is Thursday. You already know, another episode of Indie Talks, and we're super excited. We have Vin-Keatin coming in. Let's see here. Oh, he's already in the building. Okay. 1 second. Let's see here. All right, so we're waiting for my co-host and for our guests to come up.
Hey. How you doing, guys? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, y'all light is amazing, man. I'm trying to adjust my light so y'all.
We gotta come correct, you know.
Yes. Well, welcome so much for coming through to
our thank you. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Oh man. So guys, everybody's here. So as everybody come through the room, go ahead. We're gonna get this thing started. So guys, you already know it's Thursday, another episode of Indie Talks. I'm just one of your hosts, Aasha Lewis Reckley, and my beautiful co-host
Danielle me.
All right, so you already know what it is. We sit down with some of the most trailblazing independent artists that's doing a thing, okay? I'm not saying they thing, okay?
The thing.
All right. So today, at this lovely hour, we have no other but the most, just purest girl.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. We appreciate it so much.
No, thank you. Look, it's a pleasure, man. I love what y'all doing is like putting a spotlight on indie artists because oftentimes it's a hard role when you're independent. You're going, so you need the people that really appreciate what you're doing to give you love. So it's truly an honor to be a part of tonight's talk.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Absolutely. So listen, we're gonna get into this, okay? Talk to us, tell us, because you're from the Bronx.
Yes, I am.
You are from the boogie down, okay?
I'm from the Bronx.
and talk about basically, because New York City is like the epitome of like music and the start, and talk about building that career here and having New York as your foundation.
So growing up in the Bronx, it's so much different cultures, right? So I always tell people that as we know what's going on in the world, it never really I knew what that, of course, what racism is, but you go to school with so many different cultures of people, so you learn to love people for who they are. You don't really see the color, so it was just so much different music. And I went to high school in the South, kind of like the South Bronx, so you heard a lot of bachata music, you heard the rap music, you heard R&B music. So oftentimes we would have like ciphers, right? And you always play around and rap, and then once I was like really singing, I would like play around and sing, and I would sing. So it's influenced me so much. And I come from Jamaican. I call myself, I'm Jamaican. I'm born in America, but my family
you have a Jamaican background.
Is born in Jamaica. So the culture for me, all of those things from a young age, music like blared through my house, from Whitney Houston to Bob Marley. To Peter Tosh, to New Edition, to the Whispers, to Manhattans, Michael Jackson. So it's just all different types of music. So it always inspired me. You know what I'm saying? So being from the Bronx, I always, wherever I go, I gotta let people know I'm from the Bronx. And it's crazy because a lot of times people don't think I'm from the Bronx. Like, are you from Maryland? I'm like, I don't know where the Maryland thing is.
Come from?
I don't know where it is, but people a lot of times don't really get that I'm from the Bronx. So, but I got to make sure, let them know it's boogie, boogie down. So
all day, every day, right?
Yeah. So all day.
Now, how did you know that you wanted to pursue music seriously? Like, how did you know that you was like, all right, this is what I really want to do?
Oh, so long story short, I've been singing since I was young, right? So the first song I ever remember myself singing was like "Let's Chill" by Guy. Because my parents, we had the whole like old school big stereo, And then my sister, my older sister, Timer, you know, she had like a huge collection of CDs. So I would go in there after school when I was in elementary school and just sit in there and like do homework. So it's just always like kind of gravitated towards me. And when I got a little older, like high school, my friend of mine was like, you know, I had stage fright. So my school had a talent show every year. I never did it, never auditioned. And a brother of mine, he's like, yo, this is our last year. If you don't do it now, you'll never do it. You'll never get over the stage fright. So he said, all right, because he rapped. He's like, I'll go to the audition with you. I'll rap and I'll come with you. I go to the audition, he's not there. But now it's too late. So everybody's looking at me like, why are you here? Like, you know, like, what do you? And I'm like, I sing. There's like, since when you sing? I've known you for like 3 years. When have you? So I said, no, I really do sing. I'm really nervous. Like I got stage fright. So she asked me to sing. And then she started crying. And as she's crying, I'm crying because I'm like nervous. So she's like, oh my God, like, why have you been keeping this from everybody? Like,
what did you sing?
I think I sang R. Kelly Naked from the Best of Both Worlds album.
Ooh.
So, and then like the audition, when I did the audition, I did that. But when I did the talent show, I performed a woman's work. So a lot of people were just kind of, you know, dumbfounded because they never knew I sang. And like there's something, it wasn't like really hiding it. It's a lot to go up in front of people and sing. That's why if I go out to like an open mic and you know, you watch, no matter what the person does, I would never boo them or show, because I know what it takes to like stand in front of people, and basically, you know, at people's mercies, really. So yeah, it's just once I got on that stage, it's like, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. Like this is what I've been kind of like chasing my whole life. Like this is what, like, so since that day, I've just been pursuing and going after music, whether it's been reading my favorite songwriters, just reading the liner notes and listening to the greatest songwriters, listening to the best vocalists, just to study them, because it's one of the things that I feel like it comes effortless, right? So I think things that you love to do, it's not work. They always say you never work a day in your life when you do what you love, and it's true. It's true.
How do you think your life would be if you didn't, like, if your friend didn't push you to like do that talent show tryout?
I probably would have never did it. I probably would have never did it.
Shout out to that friend.
No, that's my brother. That's been my brother since we were 6 years old. And, you know, I tell him all the time, like, you know, like, I would have never did it, because I would have never, if he didn't say, yo, bro, I'm gonna audition with you. Go, like, we met at lunch. He's like, I got you. And I go in there, I look, he's not there. I'm like, this ninja. Like, really?
So as you continue to go throughout, so now you're serious, now like you're on stage, as you continue to go out and perform, what development, like, techniques or routines have you done to help you continue that confidence when you're on stage? Because your music oozes, you know, a lot of confidence, a lot of sex appeal, smooth R&B,
a lot of sex appeal,
high notes, everything.
So and I always say, people, like, you know, I think you have to have the right people around you. Another brother of mine, he's like, yo, I see it. He was like managing me when I was like 19. It's like, I got you. You got the talent. I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna get you there. And like, he brought me to a neighbor. Like, I live down the block from him. He's like, oh, it just dawned on me, my neighbor is a voice coach and her husband is a producer. He's like, I gotta set this up. They gotta meet you. So I meet them, and they're like in the backyard, and it's like, yeah, my boy sings, and they're like, sing something.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was nervous because I wasn't expecting them to ask me to sing. It's like, you gotta sing something. So at that time, like I knew a lot of songs, but I think since it was what Maxwell was so fresh in my mind at the time, I sang that. And it was like, all right, you definitely have talent. You need some like refinement because I didn't know nothing about how to properly sing. For me, people would like have like girls would come to the block, they'd be like, oh, my boy sings. I drink some water and sing. I had no clue about breathing, none of that. So
no vocal keys, no
no,
re, fa, sol, you, none of that.
no, that was so. And that she's still my voice coach to this day. Robin Small, and her and Gil Small. He passed away. God rest in peace. They became my mentors. So they were. I always say I didn't get to go to Berklee College of Music, but they were Berklee College of Music graduates. So they pushed me. Like she basically told me, you're not going to record till I said, feel you're ready to record. Right. So it was and when I look back at it now, it kind of hardened me. So I always tell her, I'm always nervous to sing in front of her because our lessons would be, she would sit right in front of me and she was like, I got to feel you. Because if I don't feel you, nobody's going to feel you.
That's true.
If I had to sing the 4 bars of a song 20 times in a row, I was singing them 20 times in a row. So Robin Small, till this day, she's like a mother figure, a psychiatrist, mentor, teacher, and I owe a lot to them because I think when you're doing those things, you need nurture. Everybody who seeks guidance, and if you have something that you love doing, you're passionate about, you need guidance.
Absolutely. And
you needed the right kind of guidance. So they prepared me a lot to go on stage and perform in front of people I didn't know. Because that's the thing. You go in New York, it's a tough crowd. It's a tough crowd because you go out into the Village Underground, Sugar Bar, and people looking at you like
SOBs.
Show me something.
Like what you about
you
to
like
do?
You like the 12th person I've seen tonight. Show me something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? People be like, can you even sing before you even sing nothing? Because like I don't been here seeing 10 people. Like, don't waste my time. So
exactly.
And I tell my nephew now, who's like, a young superstar, and he coming up, I was like, those things hard to me, like, because you want support, but people that I didn't know, they kind of gave the, like, you know what, you got something, and that means some people you don't know say that you have something. So
okay. I mean, and it's dope because like New York, if you really can't make it in New York, you literally cannot make it anywhere. If you can't handle the crowd here,
we're tough. I think it's more like, it's not more like it's not loving, but it's like
character building.
Like I said, I've been to open mics, and you look at that list, it's 22 people.
Right. And
so
it's like the repetitive artist.
And the faces just be like
rapper, the R&B singer.
That's the same face. You get them on stage,
right?
They like.
It was like, ooh.
They like. I done heard 20 people. It's it's 11. You get there at 8 o'clock and you don't perform till 11 o'clock. That's the
sometimes 12.
No, that's the open mic thing, and it's a grind. And I'm not gonna say it was all good because my first open mic was the worst.
Wait, talk about it.
So my first open mic, we did Sugar Bar, the Hallowed Sugar Bar in New York. And I was nervous already. I was in school at that time, so I left. It was right after school. We went down there, and I was kind of like, I wasn't all the way. I just started doing lessons, so I was kind of still stuck in bad habits. And I was like, well, this is how I've been singing for mad girls like this. So like, I don't know, I just started doing this, and I remember my first lesson. The whole lesson, I was on the floor with a book on my stomach. And I didn't really know. I was like, wow, the whole lesson I'm gonna lay on the floor? I'm like, I didn't get it. I didn't know what that was. I understand now that was teaching me how to breathe from my diaphragm.
Yeah.
I didn't know then, I'm like, what is this? The whole lesson we just gonna do this? So when I sang, and I remember she told me to record it. Oh my God, it was the worst. It sounded like a fish out of water.
Oh
It just sounded
Lord.
so bad, and I could hear the people booing me, and I'm like, oh
Oh,
man, it was bad. Oh, it was so bad, and then I had to watch it with her, so
Which
I
is even
watched
worse.
it. Like
but that's a pivotal point though, because you
Yeah.
get to
no, it
see.
was pivotal because it let me know that all right, the things that you've been doing, you think that you know how to sing, right? You
Mm-hmm.
don't. You don't. You have a ability, but it has to be refined. You have to learn technique and all those kind of things. So she broke it down like I call her a vocal scientist. She broke the depth. She broke it down. See, this is why you didn't breathe. That's why you sound like you're drowning right here. And then I'm like, oh, I gotta watch. So we talk about it all the time. Like that was hard because like it makes it now. Like when I do perform, I always do pros and cons. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, that was good. Those notes, I could approach those a little because she would break down to me like you gotta approach the notes like how you approach women. You don't approach women hard and rough, right? You approach it smooth, right? You
Mm-hmm.
tell a story with how you singing. It's you telling a story, right? Tell a story. You got an intro, a body, conclusion, climax. Take the listener on a story. She would break it down to me, like, and it would make me really have to think about it. She would play me the artists that I really, at the time when I was growing up, I really listened a lot to, and then play me the artists that those artists were inspired by. So it was like, oh, I didn't know that person was inspired by that person. She's like, no, it's like there's always people that are inspired by other people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then like when she felt I was ready to record music, working with Mr. Gill, it was like a master class on how to connect in the music because it's one thing to write the song, it's another thing to add the delivery, the emotions, and they would both always say, the listener has to feel you. If this is about love, they need to feel love in the song. If this is
Absolutely.
about more like sensual or lust or maybe despair, they need to feel it in the record. You need to paint the picture with your voice, like make it visual. So I would always think about those things. I would think about like Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye. Um, you think about Babyface or Kelly, like though in that time. And then when I got a little older, you listen to, the Tanks, the D'Angelos, the Maxwells. So you think you listen? I listen, like I study. I listen to music, and I'm just studying what's going on. Even till now, when I listen to something, I don't really listen like I listen like more. I'm listening to what's going on. I'm listening to why they approach those notes like that. What
Mm-hmm.
are they trying? So it made it when I made music. I was like, it's all about feeling, right? So I want whoever's listening to feel what I'm going through. I want if it's a man that can't express his feelings, I want him to put on the record for his lady, and she's gonna get the picture like that. She knows exactly what he's feeling. So I want it to always be visual. So I always come from a place it has to feel right to me. If it feels right to me, I know it's not wrong.
That's amazing. Yeah, because I think like for me, I'm like everybody know I say it like every other week. For me, it's lyrics is the thing. Like I process music in a way of okay, lyrics, then production, and then whatever else all falls into play. And I think that's the most important part because especially with R&B, it has to have some type of substance. And the one thing you touched upon is like giving you that visual and that feeling because if no one's feeling it and which you execute very well. And so I mean, round of applause to your team and your mentors for really sticking in there and really teaching you that substance and how to really give to your audience. Speaking of, I mean, talk about your songwriting, like now that she felt like you was ready to record your songwriting, what describe that process and really giving, because you did come up with an EP and I mean just lyrically for me it was just amazing. So
that means it means a lot because when you do music, like we don't make music for ourselves. I don't make music. I don't make music just to bump into my headphones, right? So, for me, it started. I started writing poetry when I was young. I used to write poetry and about how I felt. And I remember when I first started like working on music, because at first I was doing like reference tracks. I was writing music, but at the time I was like, yo, I need to get in the studio. I need to get the hours up in the studio, because the first time I got in the studio, I felt it was like robotic. Like, you know, you're listening, it's timed. You know, I was used to singing for people where you sing a cappella, then you create your own time. So there's really no time. So I wrote poetry, and then I would look in the liner notes. So I would look at the liner notes, I would read the structure and see how, and then I'll listen to the phrasing. And then they say, you know, if you want to be a great songwriter, you gotta listen to great songwriters, right? So I listened to Marvin Gaye, listened to the Isley Brothers, listened to Babyface, listened to Joe, Brian McKnight. So, and then I started like R. Kelly. So I started listening to them, and then I started to take how I was feeling, because so my music is from me. It's from my life, my experiences. So take it from. I started listening to how they use the phrases, and then they sang them. So then I started like writing songs, like a broken kind of writing songs. I was just writing them, and then when I started working with Mr. Gill, when I finally was ready for the studio, I would bring him the songs. No mute, no track. I created the melody from what I heard and the lyrics, and I would bring them to him. He'd be like, "Okay, that's dope." He put a metronome. If everybody knows metronome is time,
yeah.
And I would sing to the metronome. And I'm not gonna lie, I'd be off because I created it to myself, so I didn't have a time. And he'd like correct me. Okay, you gotta do it like this time. And then when I'll come back, there would be a whole track around to cater to what I wrote. So I was like, oh, I'm like, wow. And then like the first song I wrote that was on my last project, Beginning Forever, that I really felt, all right, this is what I'm really good at. This was Perfect. The first song that I was like, all right, I wrote it, we recorded it. I was like, oh wow, and I let my family hear it. It was like, I think you got something. Yeah, like you wrote this? I was like, yeah. So I think especially when I did the Beginning Forever, I was in a relationship. And I think we all go through the relationship we think is gonna be this, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I think through the relationship I wrote songs on what was going on. So they one of the songs on there's As Long As We're Together, that came from a argument about, like, I think it was more like a time or a place or a certain like thing, like, oh, what we needed. And I was like, as long as we together, it shouldn't really matter what's the surrounding, whatever, because as long as we're together, we okay. And I ain't gonna lie, like a light bulb went off in my head, like, oh, as long as we're together. And then I just started going through different scenarios of whether it's not having, and then putting it to music, and then finishing it. So for me, writing is personal. So you take from what things that you've been through, and then to put into song. And I always tell people, like, I know that's not from me, that's from God, because I don't think I'm a genius. I don't think I just think he put it there, and at that time I grabbed that. That's what he put it there, and I grabbed it. Because there's certain songs I hear him like, I should have wrote that. I should have wrote it. It sounds like something I would write. So I think for songwriting, to me, it comes different. Like sometimes a title comes, sometimes a hook comes, sometimes a couple of bars come. Like Trouble, it took me a year to write the song. Because really? At the time, it's crazy. At the time, I was celibate, and I would say, like, you know, I love women, right? So I was celibate. So I was like, all right, I want to find that woman that's supposed to be for me, and I know I need to be obedient. And I was being tested. A lot. Yeah, I was being tested a whole lot. And
but you was blocking.
Yeah, no, I was blocking. I was blocking. I I was blocking, but I was being tested, and it's crazy. I was like working at a school, like in my as a daytime hustle, and like this is custodian, and he wasn't like the most small custodian. He was a bigger guy, but for some reason there was a teacher that worked at the school, and she piqued my interest, and he would come out of nowhere and be like, "You a Christian, right?" I'm like, where you came from? I don't know, and he's not a small guy. He just come out of nowhere, like he just appear. She'd be like, "She's trouble." And at first, trouble.
How he know?
He's like, trouble. I like trouble.
He's like, "I'm just telling you, she's a man eater." I'm like, damn, that's kind of harsh. Like, and every time like I would see her, he would just pop up out of nowhere.
That probably was his lady, low key.
I think because he was like, you know what?
That was God telling you, don't do it, son.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, because he's not a small guy. He's not a small guy. I would spot her, and then next boom, he's right here. I'm like, where'd you come from? And I told him, I was like, you know what? You might be my guardian angel. So he was protecting me, and that song. It took a year because a lot of things I was writing was like me writing about my weaknesses and like feel like, and it was tough to do that. It was kind of hard to do that. So every time I would write it, I would stop because I would get emotional. And then I remember when I took it to Mr. Gill and I told him I was going to change the line, like, "Oh, good for my body, not for my soul." I was like, "I think that's a little bit much." He was like, "No."
Yeah, no.
He's like, "No, because that's real. That's what you felt. That's exactly what you felt, right?" So, and he said, oftentimes as men, we have vices, whether it's women, whether it's substances or something. All Black men are always taken down, right, about those things. Not to say that women are a drug that you should not partake in. It's more, if you're going after something for the goal of that goal, you'll go down, because you're gonna get whatever you want. That's a vice. It's gonna come to you. If that's what it is, it's gonna present itself to you all the time, and you're gonna have to fight that. So he was like, "This song is real because you're being open and honest about you being where you're at." And he says a lot of times as men we don't do that, right? We kind of we hold up this image of being this, and yeah, and then I remember when I came back and heard it, the track, and there's a drop in the beginning, and I like dropped, like my heart dropped. I'm like, "Oh, this sounds like I'm in a dark room. It sounds like I'm somewhere like," and I felt kind of like that because I'm an R&B singer and I'm celibate. That sound crazy. And at the time, I think I was approached to be on like a reality television show, and I was like, you know what? No, because you know why? This is gonna be the storyline. This is gonna be the storyline right here.
Celibate R&B singer, and then you just break your celibacy, and
I was like, I'm not gonna do it. They was like, "Well, oh, it would be great." I'm like, no, because I know what the storyline would be.
What show was it gonna be?
I forgot the title of it. But they was like, "Oh, you're looking for love," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am, but I don't really know if this is the avenue for me to be on." And because we're gonna have these conversations, right? And now we get these conversations, they're gonna be like, "You celibate?" Because I've heard them when I was celibate. "You celibate? You making this kind of music?" I'm like, this is about experiences and stuff I'm taking from my life. So it doesn't have to be present.
Yeah.
That's what songwriting is. It don't have to be this happened yesterday. This is you know what I'm saying? So I was like, nah, because I know what the storyline would be. I know that's what that storyline would be. That's when I was celibate for 5 years. So every woman that I met and I was trying to talk to find out about them, it came up because they would bring up you with that music. I'm like, it's music, right? Like, I'm not saying that's not a part of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't got like 30 girlfriends, if that's what you're trying to imply. So,
but I
yeah.
think that a lot of people, well, not gonna say a lot, but that, you know, sometimes people don't really understand that when it comes to songwriting, it's all about growth.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about, you know, having that in that feel, you know, and understanding yourself and be able to express that through words. And a lot of times, some people don't understand that. They just feel like, oh, so you just write to write, and not knowing that songs throughout the years, like you said, you worked on a song for a whole entire year.
Yeah.
You know, it took you a whole year to put out, you know, the understanding that, you know, look, I'm in a different place, but while I'm in this place, there's going to be some things happening and coming at me. And I think that's where some people lose touch at, and that don't really fully understand. Like, you know, you just, and because I think sometimes they get displaced by the fact that they'll hear an artist in an interview like, oh, it took me 48 hours to write this song, or it took me, you know, 2 hours just to really do this. And that can, and I'm not saying that can't happen, and it does happen.
It does happen.
But I think that when it comes to something in depth as music that you definitely put out there, it's a growth process. It's time frame.
Yeah. So like, as long as we're together, I wrote it probably like in 15 minutes, right? That song wasn't it. It wasn't as emotionally. It didn't take me to where trouble was me like saying, hey, this is what I am dealing with. I'm in trouble. Like, I am. And the first step is admitting. First step is admitting that you have a problem, right? I'm in trouble. This is what I want, but I also want that too. I want this and I want that too. And I'm really thinking, is that wrong? Is it really that wrong? That's what I was asking myself. Is it really that wrong? It feels amazing. Is it really that wrong? It was created. You know what I'm saying? You know, by God. So is there that? So those are questions I was having with myself. So I was like, you know what? I know other people are going through this, and maybe most men, we don't want to really admit that, right? So, because I remember like my pastor was telling me, like, why are you telling women you're celibate? Like, you shouldn't tell them that. Now you're like a trophy. You're like a trophy. And I'm like, but those are conversations that come up, right? It's the conversation that comes up when, all right, they know I do this. It's going to come up. Then they always phrase like, I bet you got like 8 girlfriends. That's the start off.
Because in our head, we always think that men, all right, y'all got 2 and a possible. Like, come on now. Like,
couples of karaoke conversation. Oh, there we go. Next guy.
But I honestly, and I've always heard that because people always say to me like, oh, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, right? And I always think, I don't got all that time. That's a lot of work. To talk to all these women. That's a lot of work
and money.
And I prefer to put my energy into it's a lot. That's a lot of work. Like, now I'm not like, I tried, like, I dated. We weren't physical, but I dated multiple women. That's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Wow.
That's 3 women you talking to. You can't really slip up. You know, you can't say a wrong name.
Remember you told me this, and she'd be like, I ain't know you do that. Wrong girl.
That wasn't me.
Exactly. So that's a lot of time. So, you know, and I think I always tell like young dudes now, because when they find out I was celibate, they're like, oh, you was in jail? I was like, no, I was not. I was not in jail.
Be associated with jail.
Yeah,
why you gotta be in jail?
It was like, oh, I know you was locked up. I said, I was never locked up. So you were celibate 5 years. Why? I was like, look, I never put a time frame on the reason why I was that, right? It was more, that's what just happened. So I always tell them, like, you know, I think if we really want something, right? If you say you really want something, there's certain sacrifices you got to make to get it.
True.
That's true.
Right? Certain sacrifices you have to make to get certain things. So I said it just happened as to be the sacrifice. That I think I was too led by that, and I had to, you know,
call back. And nothing wrong with it.
I had to fall back, you know, work on me. So when it came time to be with a woman, I was in a better place to receive that woman. Because if you're not, if your mindset is not there, you could ruin something, right? Because if you're not ready for that person, you could, like I always say, a broken person could break a whole person. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't mean to go here. But I didn't mean to go here. Yeah, I didn't mean to go here, but I'm just, yeah. So so that song for me, it was like a turning point. And it's also one of the, also probably one of the, my most favorite songs. And I would perform it, and you'd meet women, and they would come up to me like, that song sounds like it's about me. And I'm like, huh? I don't know. You the song in my mind. I'm like, I don't know if you're really getting what the song is about, but okay, I'm glad you love it. But, all right. Yeah.
So speaking of, I think that hearing that explanation and really that in depth about the process of making that EP and now 2021, all right, new single, all right, Don't Hold Back. So we not holding back.
No, not holding back nothing.
No.
Talk about basically now, the reshaping of your music, and this is the start of upcoming project.
Yeah. So I think, all right, so during that whole time, or the time I haven't released music, I found love, right? I found love again. I never gave up on love.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I'm married.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So, so I always tell her, like, you're the muse of the music, right? So I was like, I was making this music, and it's crazy. I was not in the arena. I was waiting on the bench, but I was preparing the game. So I said, this music, I want people, and I listen to a lot of music, and I want people to understand that love is cool. Monogamy is a cool thing.
It is. Cool. It don't have to be polygamy.
No. It's a cool thing. So I want them to know love is cool, and I listen to everything. I listen to all music. I don't turn off anything because I say, oh, I don't get it. I listen because I want to know why people like it. So I'm gonna listen. So there's usually this song. I usually write stuff and bring it to producers. But Major League BT sent me a track. He sent me a couple of tracks, and when this track came on, it instantly put up images of our interactions. So I was like,
I need love.
Yeah, the love.
Okay.
So I want to share the love. Okay. Right? I want to be the go-to song that you play where ain't no words need to be spoken. So just play that song. If you got a little Bluetooth that affects the light, change the light. Yeah, so I was like, I want that. I wanted
TLC.
Yeah,
little red light special.
Exactly. So when I heard the music, I was like, oh, this has to, and I didn't. It wasn't gonna be the single to me because I was like, I was like, the response from it before we released it was like, this is not. Nobody expected it from me, right? So, and I want to showcase love, and I want people to understand that it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't get that. I don't hear that it's cool. I don't really hear it from the music, and I feel like y'all. I always want from my music that y'all feel appreciated. The lovers feel appreciated. Everybody that loves love, I love you. If you love love, I love you. It's for everybody. So if you feel and that's how I want them to feel it. And I always, like I said, I want you to feel my music. So I take time with it. I think about what I'm saying. I think about how I'm saying it. I take my time. Some may say I'm a little perfectionist, but I'm just taking my time with it because I think you should take time with what you're doing. Like you said, it's not wrong with certain things come out. This song did not take long to write. Right. It just came. I had the song. My nephew, he came. He's like, I think you should rap on it. And at first I was like, I don't know about rapping. I ain't rapping a long time. He's like, but Yeah, I'm not a rapper like that. But he's like, it's a contrast. And I listened to him. I brought him in on this project because he's younger. He's super talented. So, and it's crazy that it goes from, he was like 2 years old while I was sitting next to me while I was writing music, and now he's like an adult. It's crazy, and to see him and to doing it, and it just shows you how it's important, inspiration, right, and guidance, because you don't know who's watching. I never knew.
It's true.
I wouldn't think that when I was doing this song that he was sitting there like at 3. I wasn't thinking it was. I was like, hey, he just likes to be around me, and just,
No, he was
So
watching and he was learning.
yeah. So to see him do that now it just shows you. So, and then my niece sings, right? So my niece sings.
Family of singers.
Daughter.
Family affair.
Yeah, so it's crazy. You don't know who's watching you, and you don't really do it to but you don't know who's watching you when you're doing. They're watching in silence. So the music, like I make the music for the lovers. Sorry to go on the tangent, but I make the music for the lovers. And once I heard, because it was been a while of me hearing myself in music. So once I heard myself, I was like, oh, this gonna hit. It's gonna hit the way I want it to hit, and that's what I love the most in the response from it.
Okay, Danielle,
what would you say is the difference between like your new project you have coming out is called 3, right?
Yes.
3? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. When can we expect that?
We don't have a date yet. We don't have a date yet. No,
Not an official date.
No official date. I'm still working. We're still working. Because at the same time as I want to evolve the sound, I want to you still want to like things with people that people love you for, people that's grown to love what I do. Yeah. So you want to evolve, but also the sonics of it. You may want to evolve it, but you still want them to hear, the heart of what you're doing. I think I'm still listening to tracks. Anybody watching, send me tracks. I always listen to tracks, and if something moves me, we will link.
Yeah. So what would you say is
that be in our DMs? You heard them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you say is the difference between the beginning of Forever You versus the Now You?
I think mature. I was mature, but at that time I was processing a lot. I was processing a relationship that I thought would be forever. It was not forever. It was for now.
Funny how that works out.
Yeah. So I was processing that. I was also processing the fact that I'm on this Book of Eli walk, and I'm processing that, and then now, being married, no longer on the walk, and grow, and so I feel more like almost like my whole self, because that part of me wasn't really being like part of me wasn't there, because for me to be that, I had to like turn off a part of me. Like I had to lock him up and put him away for me to really succeed on it. I had to lock a part of me that's naturally me. So I think that's why it comes out the Don't Hold Back, because I'm free.
And we're definitely looking forward to a lot of the new music for this upcoming project. And we thank you so much for really joining us. I do have one more question, because you gave a lot of details and a lot of descriptive and good gems on, especially about how you really got started and taking that time to really develop yourself, because Danielle and I have had conversations with other artists about artist development, how now that's kind of lost.
It is.
What words of encouragement can you really give to artists who are saying, like, listen, like, they're really trying to find their way and really trying to move in this because it's something they're serious about?
What I could say is that, to be great, because I think I was always told, I remember when I was doing music, like when I first started doing music, I sounded a lot like the artists that I was listening to. And I remember my voice coach was like, nobody is going to buy a copy of this artist. That artist already exists, right? So you can take the things from you love from these artists, but you got to be you. And it took me a while to find me. So it brings me joy when people listen to my music and like, oh, you don't sound like anybody. You have like a distinct sound. Don't sound like anybody. It sounds like some of the stuff that I love from people I love, but it sounds different. So I would say to work on your craft. Don't do it to get the lights. Do it because what you do in the dark shows in the light. So work on your craft tirelessly. Work on your craft. Work on you. Because it's 10,000 hours, right? 10,000 hours to put in to become what you say a master at something. And since I was 19, and they told me this what it took to do it, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it because I love it. I only do it because I love it. If I didn't love it, I would have stopped a long time ago. Like I truly love the music. It's crazy because now I'm sorry for being long. You have social media. You have social media which allows people to connect to you from Germany and all over the world. And you hear like people hit me up and they tell me about the music, and it's crazy because it just makes me think about when I was younger and you were told not to do this or maybe you shouldn't do this, and to know, all right, I kept persevering. Like I knew I have faith in God, and I know He didn't give me the gift for me not to use it. And I believed in that, and I just kept going. No matter what door closed, I pivoted and got into another one. I kept going. So keep working. Like there was a point where I couldn't get in the studio, and I went on like Craigslist. That's how I got into like referencing. I was like, I need to be in the studio. And I went to the studio. It was really shady. I sent my address to my sisters and my friends. I'm like, this is where I'm at. If you don't hear from me like that,
so happy to
it was really shady. It was the Craigslist days. I was like, oh,
whose basement was you in?
Right.
No, it was like a warehouse. And I was like, it's a studio warehouse? Like, it looks like just a building. Yeah. So I was like, all right, this is cool. All right, we could go. And, and just working. And I was working. I wasn't getting paid. And it just came to them as like, oh, you do music, right? And that's how my first project came about. So just keep working and believing in yourself and don't give up, because I'm here talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Right? This was a dream as a little kid, right? I'm talking to you guys, and it goes to all the way when one of my idols, Maxwell, tweets out trouble.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I tell people all the time, like, it wasn't like, oh, I didn't get to perform on a tour yet for Maxwell. But it just let me know that all my work wasn't in vain, right? Because this is somebody I grew up idolizing. I still one of my music idols, and he's tweeting out my music.
And you said you sang his song. You sang his song for the talent show, right? You said
yeah. So to think about that, like, you know what I'm saying. So don't give up. Keep working hard. Keep believing in yourself. Practice, 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 practice. Right. So. You practice till not to make it perfect, till it's second nature. So, yeah, that's what I would say to everybody. Like when I talk to my nephew, I tell him all the time, practice. If this is what you love, when you love something, so nobody got to force you to do it.
That's not working no more.
Nobody got to force you to do nothing that you love. Yeah. So, and it's crazy how all the things that those things taught me, the dedication and commitment, and for me to be to music, it went over into relationship and the obedience that I had to have to get to be where I'm at now. So I know it was long, but I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
No, you're good. You're fine.
You gave a lot of good stuff, and that's what we pride ourselves on with these conversations. To be able to hear certain gems and stories and things of the nature that you went through, and that you can pass that knowledge to those who's listening or who's really trying to pursue this seriously. So we thank you for that. Guys, you already know, for those who are here, please, all right, go get the single. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Don't hold back. He got the EP.
Yeah.
Forever.
And
so
also
support.
If y'all hit me up in the DM. I'm always willing to give anything of bits of knowledge or whatever I know, because I think when you reach one, you teach one. When you reach one, you teach one, right? So what you teach. So
yes. So we thank you once again just
Yes.
for. I'm sorry, Danielle. Did you have something
No,
else?
no.
Okay. But we just once again just thank you sincerely from our hearts, because I think you have an amazing pure talent. That's just amazing, and please keep going because we want to see you on tour.
I can't wait to hear 3.
Look. I'm excited as y'all because and this is what doing it is for, right? The mental currency. I call this mental currency because when you're doing this, especially independent, when you are the financer, you're doing all all these,
the manager and all that.
Yeah, it matters. It matters more than money because, like, when y'all, I don't know, it's crazy how the world is small. So I know somebody that know you, right? That knows you, right? And it's crazy how the world is small, and you think about it, it's small like that. So, and just the love y'all giving me, I might write a song today. I might write a song, right? I might write a song because the love y'all giving me, right? Mm-hmm. So I always tell people, like, I always try to say I love. I'm always gonna reciprocate love because as a black man, I know what it feels like to be hated. So I'm always gonna come from a place of love, and so I love it. I'm taking all of this y'all giving me. I would love to come back. Let's come back. So
of course,
yeah, we're gonna have you back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna holler at you on some later, probably not tonight because we have another interview, but probably definitely I'm gonna hit you because we got something coming up and we love to probably have you perform. So we will talk to you about that.
I like it. I like it. Oh yeah, I like that.
So so while we just to wrap up, like, let them know. I don't know if you got anybody that want to put down your ads or anything on that, but let them know where you at and what's going on.
Hit me up.
What you got coming up next?
You can reach me on IG at Vin-Keatin, Vinkeatin. That it's universal everywhere. Hit me up. You can get my music on Google. Well, I don't think there's any more Google Play. I've been told.
No, they took that away.
Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, everywhere music is available to be downloaded. That is wherever you at, UK, Africa, China.
Deezer? It's on Deezer?
Yes, it is. It is on Deezer.
There you go, guys.
Yes, it's everywhere. So please hit me up on if you got questions, hit me up in the DM. Long as it is not something that, I will answer. And I will. And even those, I will answer from a place with love and close the door. But I will answer from love. Yeah. So
what he's trying to say is, don't open the door.
No, you can open the door, but I'm gonna close it with love.
Okay.
There we go.
Yes.
Everything's all about love.
Yes.
All about love.
Yes.
Listen, so we thank you once again. My gosh, great conversation. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So we actually have another interview at 8:00. Yeah. We got 5 minutes to go catch our breath real quick. Guys, once again, follow Vin-Keatin. Download the music, support, not only download, but purchase it. Because I definitely purchased it.
Please.
Purchase it. Support, please. Let's run up the numbers. Okay, guys? So once again, guys, you already know what it is. It's nothing but real music, real style, and real people. So Vin-Keatin, thank you so much for joining us. And guys, I am just one of your hosts, Aasha Lewis Redway, and my beautiful co-host,
Danielle Meeks.
All right, so guys, we're gonna let you go and join back with us in like a few more minutes. All right, guys, have a good night and thank you. Peace.
Bye.
Oh, do I leave?